Live from the Jersey Shore to the world. Get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Take the show wherever you go. Download the free Radio Pup app for your smartphone or tablet. Join the conversation. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin, 6:08 Monday, August 15th, 77 degrees, get up to 89 today. WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 News Talk Radio. Streaming live on the Radio Pup app and WOBMAM.com, 732-505-1160 to join the conversation. We are now joined in studio by Lieutenant Colonel Chris Backus. He is the new commander of the 87th Aerospace Medicine Squadron at the Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. So tell us a little bit. Commander of the 87th Aerospace Medicine Squadron. What does that mean in our terms?
So for about the last 6 weeks, I took command of the 87th Aerospace Medicine Squadron. We're kind of a diverse squadron made up of public health, flight medicine, bioenvironmental engineering, aerospace physiology, and optometry. And so we take care of our flyers, our special duty people, and then the base population as an overall.
Cool. So that's you take care of everybody at the base in the Air Force.
Everybody at the base in certain aspects, but a lot of the primary medical care comes from one of my sister squadrons, MDOS. They do family medicine, pediatrics, that type of thing. So if someone's not on a special duty assignment like a flyer, we don't do their day-to-day care.
Okay, got it. All right. So now it's very interesting because you are not only a doctor. I feel like I was going to get into some commercial about like you stayed at a Holiday Inn Express and anyway. So you're not only a doctor, but you're also a pilot.
That's right. I started in the Air Force as a pilot.
Okay.
Went to pilot training and stayed on as an instructor. Was a T-37 instructor, an airplane that's gone away. Then I went on to McCord Air Force Base and was a C-17 aircraft commander and instructor, kind of at the start of Iraq and Afghanistan conflicts. So I started as a pilot and only halfway through my career went to the dark side and became a doc.
Well, but you became a doctor after you were a pilot.
That's right.
Right. So this is like if we watched like Top Gun 2, if we found out what Goose and Mav did, they probably both became like doctors or lawyers or something, right?
Or people bring up Jag a lot because I think
they?
that was the story.
Right. That's the one.
He was a lawyer.
Yeah. See, my mother-in-law watched Jag, so I avoided that like the plague. We don't want to have common discussions. All right. So cool. So what made you decide that you wanted to be? What changed?
So for me, it was going back to something that I originally intended to do. I went into college wanting to be a marine biologist. And I'm from Oklahoma, which is one of the most landlocked states.
Yeah, that's odd.
It's very odd, but Jacques Cousteau was very compelling for me in high school. So I wanted to be a marine biologist, but my girlfriend, later my wife, her father had a heart transplant, and I saw what the doctors were able to do in her life. And it really made me want to do something that amazing for people. So I became pre-med, wanted to go to medical school, went to ROTC wondering how to pay for medical school.
Right.
And they said, yes, if you can get into medical school, we'll pay for it. Then they did the physical and they said, but you're also qualified to be a pilot. Does that sound good to you? And to a 22-year-old, hey, by the way, you're qualified to be a pilot is like a carrot in front of a burro or something. So I went chasing that and became a pilot that way.
Yeah, it seems like you're easily swayed off course.
Oh, well, maybe. I just follow the instruments.
Yeah, I mean, there's like, more shiny objects, and who knows? I mean, next thing, who knows? So that's pretty cool. So now does that make you kind of more? I don't want to say more in demand, but does it make you kind of more marketable within the armed services?
I think what it does is it gives me a special view because I know exactly what most of my patients need, having been in a similar career field. I know what they're scared of. I know how to communicate with them.
Right.
We have a common language, and I think that helps me to be a better doctor for them. And it helps me to lead my folks because I can kind of translate for them and tell them, hey, here's what your patients are thinking. Be aware of that. Be ready for that. I think as a squadron, we're able to give better support to our 88 mission partners because we have a real good feel for the mission.
That's a great point. I mean, I think in any time they always talk about when you're in a leadership position, it's always best to, you never like to hire from the outside or bring someone from an outside organization because you feel like they can't empathize, they don't really understand what people are going through day to day, and it's harder to lead that way. But for you kind of have the whole picture, right? And you have the whole picture that you can really, when we talk about being kind of comprehensive care, you could certainly do that, right?
That's definitely true. Not that it's hard, because the people that work for me are very professional, very focused on their patients. So really all I have to do is get out of the way. But with my experience, I know enough to do that. That's good.
That's good. That was good, by the way. That was like when Tom Brady says, yeah, just want to thank my offensive line. You guys do a great job for me. It has nothing to do with me. And, and thank you for my receivers catching the ball. But that was good. That was good the way you deflected that off like that. So what I'd like to talk about, what do you deal with the most? Like, what's the most common thing that you're dealing with day to day?
So for me, I don't think that there's a really common day to day, because I have three very different focus areas. We provide direct medical care, and in that we deal with everything that you'd expect in direct medical care. We also do the profiling for the entire base. So if someone's got a bad knee, for instance, we have to say what duties they can't do, what fitness they can't do while we're trying to take care of their knee.
Right.
Then I have public health. So we kind of take care of the population health of the base. We focus on deployment health, getting people fit and out the door to fight the fight wherever they go. And then we deal with bioenvironmental engineering, taking care of the industrial health of the base, checking that the shops are safe and good places for our folks to work, take care of the food and water on the base. So we do a lot of everything. So I would say there's no one most common.
So what percentage of folks do you think have like heel spurs or bone spurs? No, I probably shouldn't go down that road. We were heading down the Donald Trump road for a second, but we're gonna move along. You know what? I got the stink eye too on that one. That was good. All right, when we come back, I do want to know. I would like to kind of dive into what kind of an effect, for example, Zika has had. Ebola. You guys obviously, the guys and the girls are going all around the world and dealing with things that we don't deal with, certainly here in New Jersey. So I'd like to kind of know how that affects your day-to-day and what you've seen and how you deal with that. Lieutenant Colonel Chris Backus, Commander 87th Aerospace Medicine Squadron. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin back after this.
The Sean Hannity Show, this afternoon at 3. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin returns next. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Now, back to Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 and WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. We have Robert from Berkeley on the phone. Good morning, Robert. How are you?
Yes, good morning. Good morning. Jeremy, I wish to point out to you that the good doctor you're now interviewing is a noble and happy, probably content practitioner of socialized medicine.
Oh.
All right. Now, I'll get to the other point. I got a real bone to pick with you, but not at the moment. But in any case, the good doctor, I would like to ask you a sort of a pilot question, and that is, en route to Lakehurst, from Route 70 going toward Lakehurst, I think that's on Route 547, there's a sign that says, beware, low-flying aircraft. What am I supposed to do if I'm driving along and I have to watch out for you? You have to watch out for me.
I think
I'm on the road. You got to stay where you're supposed to be.
I think they're just warning you not to be startled if something flies close to you.
Yeah. Oh, is that what it is?
That is what it is. Don't be distracted by the awesome aircraft. Nope, nothing you got to do. Just don't be distracted.
Robert, let's be honest. We've seen you a couple times, and you probably don't realize we're looking. But, we see that somebody else is driving, and you're hanging out the top of your sunroof, right? With just like hanging out up top there. And so we just want you to be careful that you're not startled.
I'm going to keep my head low then.
Wait, okay. So you piqued my interest, though. Can you give me the Reader's Digest version of the bone you have to pick with me?
Oh, yeah. This is what you had just mentioned about Bernie in the House and that your comment about socialists. okay, that their supporters, they're rich and their supporters are poor. And it's a completely misunderstanding, as usual, by Republicans, and particularly the general public, about what even socialism is, okay? Socialists are not against wealth. It's
Right.
just the ill distribution of it. Okay.
Fair enough.
If Hillary and Bubber had paid 60% of their income, which would please me no end, that still would leave them $4 million to play with. I think that's enough to get along with for a while, isn't it?
I guess you could muddle through somehow on that kind of salary. Well,
I would think so. Even if that were a 60% bracket, for some reason, the multimillionaires still make millions.
Well, these are good points, and as always, you know what? You every time I try to make a throwaway comment, you got to call me out on it. It starts to hurt after a while. I start to take it personally. Anyway, thanks for calling in, and have a great morning.
Right,
okay,
and congratulations on your appointment, Doctor.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, cool. Thanks, Robert. All right, so that was it. It was much rougher on me than he was on you. You get the low flying aircraft question, and I get the I don't understand socialism point.
The anticipation was worse than the
Yeah,
question.
it is, right? The anticipation's always the worst. It's like going up to the top of a roller coaster. All right, so tell me about Zika, Ebola. So how does that impact you day to day?
So the big impact on us is we have to be prepared because we have people, throughout the world, particularly with our 621st CRW. They're throughout the world doing their mission every day, helping people do the mission. So we have to be ready because they could bring that home. So our docs are really well educated, well prepared. We educate our patients, mostly readiness because in the U.S. the incidence is still very, very low. So we're ready to monitor in our patients. Looking for the symptoms, testing if necessary, but we're mostly just ready.
Cool. And so have you had to? I mean, you haven't really had to deal with it that much, though, right? I mean, have you dealt? I guess there's probably a fear, right? There's always a fear that says, well, these diseases, this craziness spreads from somebody. You always hear somebody was on safari in so and so, and they brought something back with them. So how do you guys, like, when somebody comes back, how do you deal with making sure that everybody is completely, all good?
Definitely. In public health, we have deployment medicine, so we check out our patients before they leave to know that they're well before they go. They do that as part of a deployment processing line. Then when they come back, they get one post-deployment health examination, and then at intervals, they get the remaining 3 so that they have 5. So we take really close care of our deployers, make sure that they're well before they go and well long after they come home.
That's great. Okay. And you were talking about, we were talking a little bit, first of all, what is CRW? Kind of talk to me about that, because it's I don't know that everybody knows what that is.
So the Contingency Response Wing, and they're one of the most varied wings I've ever seen. They do assistance to other mission partners, things that I don't necessarily know about.
Okay.
But they can teach flying. They can teach how to open a base. They have a lot of skills. They're probably more expert on what they can do than I am. But they go out and they do the mission everywhere.
Right. So for example, like you were saying that they'll go and build a hospital somewhere if they need to, or something, or build a bridge, or build whatever to kind of enable our folks in uniform to be able to carry out whatever mission they need to carry out, right?
Exactly.
That's
they go
awesome.
out there and they facilitate other missions.
Great. When we come back, Lieutenant Colonel Chris Backus, commander of the 87th Aerospace Medicine Squadron, I'd like to give you your magic wand and see what you're going to do to make an impact on the world, which you're doing every day anyway, but something even more extra special for someone like you, right?
I appreciate it.
Right.
Do I get to keep the wand?
Absolutely. And don't forget, there's 2 O's in Goose. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin, back right after this.
Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Live from the Bob Levy Broadcast Center overlooking the Toms River. It's time to get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Be a part of the show. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin, 634, Monday, August 15th, 77 degrees, get up to 89 today. WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 News Talk Radio. Streaming live on the radio Pep Up and WOBMM.com, 732-505-1160. Enjoy the conversation. Yeah, I know, I messed up a bunch of words there, right? There was radio pop. There was all kinds of things going on there that were
I
just
didn't
wrong.
say anything.
You smiled at me. You gave me that smile that said I was a total failure, Zach. I see it. I saw it in your eyes. I see it from my kids every day. Okay. We are with Lieutenant Colonel Chris Backus. He is the commander of the 87th Aerospace Medicine Squadron. And so this is going to be a hard one for you because you're like, I'm going to give you your magic wand, right? But, look, you've already you're kind of living the dream, right? You're a pilot, right? A doctor. I mean, so how long do you stay in the service before you go out and head out back into the rest of the world?
So for me, I've been in 19 years by my clock, 8 years formal training.
Right.
So 8 years as a student, paid for by the Air Force. So I've been in quite a while. I am living the dream. I love it.
Right.
But I can still think of something to do with a magic wand. I'm a big Harry Potter fan. So,
are you? Wait,
yeah,
but
I definitely want a wand.
So when? How long do you stay in before you how much longer are you going to be in? Do you think?
As long as they'll keep me.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was
definitely.
the right answer.
So as a pilot, I incurred an 8-year commitment, paid that off, went to medical school, incurred a 7-year commitment, and I have, I think, 4 years left on that.
Okay. But for you, you have just an unbelievable mountain of possibilities for when you go out into the private sector, right?
Definitely. I mean, the airlines are hiring, so I could go that way, but most likely I'll do something in medicine, but I want to stay in the Air Force as long as I can. And
it really is a great story. We tend to feel sorry for ourselves oftentimes as a country that, we have poverty and we have folks that can't afford college and this, that, and the other thing. And unfortunately, so few choose, relatively speaking, choose to go into the armed services. And really, you're a perfect example of somebody who has really kind of built an unbelievable resume, frankly, on the country's dime, but in a good way because you're serving, right? So it's a win-win-win all the way around.
I agree. It's been a great opportunity for me, educational opportunities, and I think some of our young people really would benefit from that, but it's the right match.
Right.
The right people hear the opportunities in the armed forces, come to us. We do great education, teach teamwork. The people I work with are the greatest people in the world. Cool. So I hope those people do know of the opportunities, but not everybody needs to go this way.
Cool. All right. Well, listen. Enough of this. Let's do the magic wand.
Okay.
Right. We're going to give you the magic wand, the pixie dust, the fairy dust, the ability just to make an impact by waving it or wiggling your nose. Right. And we won't say the name of Voldemort or anything like that. And we won't talk about what is it? Quidditch? Was that the game they played?
That is.
Yeah,
that is the game. Yeah.
That was good. Look at me. All about pop culture. All right. So what are you going to do, Lieutenant Colonel Backus? What are you doing with your magic wand?
So it may be my job, it may be my patriotism, but really if I could spread the opportunities, the freedom that we have in the United States, I think that's what I would do with a magic wand. I think this is the most amazing place to live. I've lived both coasts, in the middle, from the middle, so I would spread this throughout the world. That's
great. That's good. And so just to confirm, in our last two folks that we had in here from the service, we asked where the best Mexican food in the world was, and it was agreed that it was in Korea. It was in Korea, right? So can you either confirm or deny this?
Despite coming out at PACAF, I've never had the Mexican food in Korea, so for me it's San Antonio.
Okay, which makes more sense, by the way. I think that's. I could tell you're a much more regimented thinker, right? Aside from the fact that shiny objects make you change careers pretty quickly.
Easily swayed. Wait a minute, I gave the wrong answer. I should say in my house.
Right.
My mother-in-law makes the best Mexican food.
That was well done. That was well done. And you're married, right?
I am. My wife, Dr. Yolanda Backus, works in the family health clinic at the same clinic that I work at.
Cool.
Also serves, captain in the U.S. Air Force. And then my son Colin, my mother-in-law Dora, we call her Grandma because that's what my son calls her.
Right.
She makes the best Mexican food.
How old's your son?
He's 5. He's starting school this year.
Wow.
It's going to be a big step for us.
Wow, 5.
5 years old.
Oof. Wow, you got a lot. You got a lot of years ahead of you there.
He's got a lot of energy.
Yeah, that's good. Well, we should have him on next time. Maybe we could do a segment with him.
I think he would do a good job.
All right, and folks, I say folks, where do we go? Where do we go if we want to learn more about what's happening at the Joint Base? I know there's a Facebook or something like that. So we like you on Facebook at
Facebook.com/JBMDL, like Joint Base McGuire Dix Lakers.
All right, Facebook.com/JBMDL. And by the way, so I just want to be clear, that was Caitlin Jones. She's like she brings us folks from the military. She's like, she takes them, right? She preps them. She yells at me when I ask questions relative to politics, et cetera, and she's the one who gives me the stink eye every time I say something wrong. So.
I don't, Jeremy.
You do. I just want to throw it out there. I want to be fair.
I'm a very nice person. I also want to throw that out there.
I believe that. We've talked about this in the past, and we're okay. That's fine. Anyway, listen again. And I say this every time, Lieutenant Colonel Chris Backus. Thank you so much for all that you do for our country. Thank you for your service. I am, we are huge supporters here, not only on the radio show, but also through the Jay and Linda Grunin Foundation, huge supporters of Joint Base McGuire Dix Lakers, all of our first responders, and everyone who's really out there protecting our freedom every day. And so thank you for all that you do for the country.
Thanks for this opportunity, and thanks to New Jersey for all the support. I've only been here 2 months, but it's been awesome.
Awesome. Good stuff. Well, in fairness, you did come from Anchorage, Alaska, so we are making a step up there.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
there.
we have more sunlight.
Definitely,
yeah.
definitely.
Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Back after this.